Hello and welcome to episode 3 of JT's podcast. This is the Channeling JT podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Today, JT wants to talk about change. Now, this is no surprise to anybody. We have a lot of change on our planet right now. And guess what? We are going to be continuing that change. JT wants to assure everyone that this is absolutely within the plan for our planet. Remember, there is a plan. This is not haphazard. This is not willy-nilly. Yes, we have free will here, and yes, that does impact a lot of things. However, there is still a grander plan that has been in place since the beginning of time here on the planet. And those powers that be, those who are with JT, those very high frequencies from Earth, from other systems, meaning other places in the universe, other galaxies, all want Earth to succeed in these changes. You may ask why. That is because what happens here affects the entire universe. So yes, sometimes it appears that things are out of our control. After all, we have a huge virus still plaguing the planet. However, JT doesn't want us to focus on that, and neither do those who are with him, those very high frequencies. What they want us to focus on is what changes we need to make to advance our souls. Now, that sounds like a pretty big job to figure out, but it really isn't. Because all that you need to do is sit down and get quiet, and then ask your soul, what am I supposed to learn here? I know I've talked about this before. JT has talked about this before, but right now is the perfect time to figure this out. Because as things continue to move on the planet, energies are going to appear, and that is the operative word, appear, as if the world is upside down. But, as JT says, it is only an illusion. The world is not upside down. And so we need to look at ourselves and figure out what it is that we need to change in this process to allow ourselves, to allow our soul to continue to learn the way that it needs to learn. And this is different for everybody. Everybody came in with a different plan. Everybody came in with a different idea of what needs to happen, what they want to see happen here. We all agreed to this. We all agreed to come in at this time and to experience what is happening right now. Everything. We agreed to everything. Now, does that mean that everything is written in stone? Absolutely not. Again, we have free will. And we get to choose so much of what comes into our reality. We've talked about that before, but this particular podcast isn't really about that. This particular podcast is determining what you need to do here. Now, there's several ways to do this from JT's perspective. The first, of course, ask. Ask your helpers to show you, tell you, give you the sensations, to help you to discover all of that. Ask your high helpers to assist. Again, we live on a planet with free will. So in that regard, what we need to do is ask for their help. They are so eager to help us right now, and they're just waiting, twiddling their thumbs as we decide what we're going to do here and whether we're going to figure this out all on our own, which is ridiculous, or to ask them for help. So please do that. And it's as simple as saying, helpers, high helpers, please assist me in figuring out what I'm supposed to do with all of this change, what I need to do to advance my soul. And then wait for the answer to come. That is the simplest way to get the answer. JT is also available for consultation through the Channeling JT sessions that he has. He wants to make sure that you understand that this is not promoting his sessions at all. This is just saying that if you need a little bit of extra help, he is able to assist you with this. But he really wants to emphasize that you are able to do this on your own, that this is not something that you require outside of yourself. You don't require anything outside of yourself to figure this out. Now, I know from personal experience that it is so much nicer to have some validation. I receive information all the time, and it's so nice to have that validation from him and from others that I'm on the right track. So given that, he is totally open to assisting you. The other way to do this is through meditation. Meditate on what you need to do to make those changes. What that would look like is to be in a meditative state. Now, there's lots of ways to meditate. You can be gardening and meditate. You can be sitting quiet and meditate. You can have music and meditate. There is an app for, I believe, both Android and iPhone called Insight Timer, which has a ton of different meditations on it. The point is to stop that brain, stop your mind from running amok. When we meditate, we quiet that mind, what we call the critical thinker, and we allow our soul to speak. So in doing meditation or creating a meditative practice, what you're doing is you're quieting that mind so that you can get those answers within meditation. So before you meditate, set intention. The intention for this particular exercise is to say, my intention is to discover what I need to do in the changes on the planet today. And then go into your meditation and make sure that when you come out of your meditation that you write down everything that you experienced, because they are going to give that information to you, give you your answers through meditation. So those are some ways that you can get those answers. Now, on a global scale, he wants to remind us that what we see as tragedy, what we see as so many people leaving by this virus that we have here, he says, don't be fooled. And he doesn't mean that in a bad way, but he says, don't be fooled by what's happening, because all of those souls wanted to leave now. And that goes to the premise and the understanding and the acceptance of the reality that we do choose how we are going to leave. At least roughly, we all have at least 3 exits from which to choose to leave our incarnations. And before we come into these incarnations, we get to decide, okay, do we want to leave by heart attack? Do we want to leave by cancer? Do we want to leave by virus? JT chose to leave by virus. He caught the flu, and 5 days later he was gone from his physical incarnation. And he tells me that he chose that because it was an easy way to go. That doesn't mean that other people who have COVID have an easy exit by any means, but he wants to say that all those who have left did decide to do this on a soul level. Very important that we understand that. That's what keeps me sane anyway, and hopefully that keeps you sane too. And I know that at the time when I was introduced to this concept of, let's say, JT leaving when he did and choosing to leave by the flu, I had a really hard time accepting that because I thought, why would we choose to do that? But then through meditations, through Akashic Records sessions, I was able to actually see how that happened in that in-between space. So I have had a lot of requests for Akashic Record readings lately, and I totally understand why, because it's all about what am I doing here? And so JT is also assisting with those sessions. He says that he wants to let everybody know that he will be there for them as well if they wanted to do an Akashic Record session. Now let's talk about after all of this, because he really wants us to see what's coming in the future. And he says it's going to be brand new, that we are really shifting, that we are really moving. And I know a lot of us who are in the New Age arena probably have heard this before, right? Oh, it's coming, it's coming. He says it is. There are some things that need to be done in order for us to finally make that change into what they're calling the new world. And it's okay. I know this is going to sound crazy, okay, but it's okay if not everybody comes, because those who are choosing free will to not come along, it's okay. And don't worry about them. They're souls too. They won't get lost. They're still going to experience what they need to experience. It's just going to be in a very different way than those of us who are choosing to be in that higher frequency. He says he knows that's a confusing concept, and he says don't get caught up in that right now, but just know that the future is bright, that the future holds so much for us and is just ripe with opportunity. But we need to get there. We as souls on this planet need to take a proactive role in getting there. And so again, he says, embrace the changes, figure out what your position is, what your soul wants to do in these changes. Figure out what it is that your soul wants to express in these changes, and the things that we just need to throw away and not focus on anymore. He is so excited to work with each and every one of you, everyone who is listening to this. He is there for you. Don't ever doubt that, please, because he is an enormous soul, an enormous teacher, master teacher. And all you have to do is call him, and he will be there. Thank you so much for listening. We are so excited to be able to bring these podcasts to you. Please share this with your friends, subscribe to the channel. Anything that you can do to get the word out for us, we would so greatly appreciate. Until next time.